What's up, guys? This is Boot Banter coming at you with another video. Today I'm doing the review for the Adidas X Ghosted.1. I had this for about a few months and I really gave them a shot, and I'm here to give you guys my full review and my thoughts on them. So let me go over with the tech specs. We have a floral skin upper, and then we have the sprint frame with these chevron studs, kind of similar to the Mercurial Vapor. Then we have this carbon fiber insert that is supposed to help give you spring back and helps with energy retention. We have a very lightweight foam insole. Then we have these cushion Achilles pads, and we have this one-piece construction with the with the immovable tongue, speed laces. That's pretty much for the tech specs. So for my review, I'm gonna start with the upper. So with the upper, as you can see in the sun, it's kind of see-through, but for the touch, I would say that it's not as thin as, say, like the past Adi Zeros, but it's not as, I guess, it's not as soft as, say, like the Vapor. And for me personally, I didn't really like the touch that much because while it is thin, for some reason it has like a plasticky touch to it, in my opinion. It kind of feels like it's laminated, and for whatever reason, the touch isn't as sharp as I thought it would be for me personally. Also, I have a wide foot, and this took a long time for me to break in compared to, once again, the Mercurial Vapor. Even past Adi Zeros, like the 2014 version, I had an easier time breaking those in than I did with these. Believe it or not, I had to actually put these in the oven at 175. That's a pro tip for you guys. If you're having big problems trying to break in boots, you can put them in the oven at 175 for 15 minutes. Take them out, put them on your feet, and let them mold, and that'll help a lot when you're dealing with these super stiff synthetics. I don't recommend that for leather boots, and just a disclaimer, I'm not responsible if you keep them in there for too long and the boots get messed up or anything like that. It's one of those things where I wouldn't recommend it, but it's something that I personally do. So, going with the lacing structure, I also felt that I didn't have a big problem with the lacing structure, but I felt that they could have put it maybe a little bit more. Either that or make it central. I think that would have helped with the fit a little bit. The fit isn't horrible, but if you have a wide foot like mine, you're gonna have a problem breaking them in, like I previously said. This tongue, now the cut of the tongue is a much improved from the X18 and the X19, right? But it kind of is cut a little bit too low for my liking. So when you tie the boots up, right, the laces are gonna sit right here. So you're basically on the edge of this piece here. And while I didn't have a problem per se, I just felt that aesthetically and a little bit of comfort-wise, I felt like they could have extended this a little bit more, just so it didn't end up coming up on your ankle a little bit. Because when you tie it up, it kind of is on your ankle bone a little bit. It doesn't really bother you once you start playing, but I would have just preferred for them to have it a little bit higher than that. So that goes as far as the upper. Good fit, but if you have a wide foot, you might want to look somewhere else. As far as these the heel padding, on initial try on, the heel padding feels okay. It doesn't feel bad. I do prefer a more traditional heel liner, but this one, it works all right. But once I started playing in them, I did get a little bit of pressure back there. I think that the heel is just a little bit too stiff. Again, I think they would have did a little bit better with the traditional heel liner. This is the reason why I believe that some pros, if you look on Instagram, like BC Boots and things of that sort, you will see that a lot of pro players are getting the X uh, Ghosted. They're getting a more traditional style heel padding than these notches because they do pretty well to lock your heel in, but I think they lock it in just a little bit too tight. So I think if Adidas, they can keep this initial design, but I think they will do a little bit better to actually have a more substantial heel liner as far as like the padding and stuff, rather than these two notches. For whatever reason, the two notches worked on the X18 or X19, but for this one, it's just like it was a little bit too tight for me. Insole is trash. Adidas doesn't really do insoles that well. Going to the sole plate. The sole plate is actually pretty nice, I would say. You get decent traction. If you're comparing these to the Vapor, these are just a little bit shorter than the Vapor, but you still get a decent amount of traction. With the spring plate, you notice the stiffness of the spring plate at first, but then, like I said, once you start playing in them more and more, you kind of forget. But what I will say is that I wish that it was a little bit softer. This sole plate kind of reminds me of the stiffness of the sole plate kind of reminds me of the Hypervenom 1 from 2012, except that with that nylon sole plate that was on the Hypervenom, as you play with them, it broke into where it was really comfortable. After maybe your fifth wearing them, it felt like any other plate, and I really like that. But with this one, as you can see, I played with them maybe about, I would say, more than 30 times in these, and it's, you guys can't really see it, but it's pretty hard for me to actually bend this, but I still can do it without having much problem. Again, I'm a wide footer, so at the very beginning, I would say like the first 10 wears, I had a lot of bad heel cramping in these because it's so stiff. It works against your foot, and you might, if you're prone to getting foot cramps in your arches, you might not want to go for this one, or just know that once you start playing in these, you might have to, like I said, break them in a little bit more. One gimmick that I forgot to mention is that Adidas said that they curved the toe on these a little bit more than the usual football boot, because they said they wanted for you to have that kind of toe off motion like in track spikes. But let me tell you, when I say, you don't notice that at all. You don't feel faster, or you're not more on your toes and stuff like that, like the way Asics used to do that heel gradient thing. It's just a gimmick. You don't notice that when you're playing at all. Lightweight, it's pretty lightweight. It's not as light as I was thinking it was gonna be, because when I first saw the prototypes on players and stuff, it looks really thin, and I'm thinking like, oh man, they're gonna be light, like 5.6 ounces like the 2014 Adidas, and they're not. In this size 10, they're around like 7.2 ounces, which is not bad. But for speed boots, especially this type of speed boot, it's not a knit. And most of the time, usually the knit boots, for whatever reason, they usually come in around like 7 ounces or 6.8 ounces, something like that. And this one is at like 7.2 ounces, and this is pretty much a synthetic. They can say it's a textile base and all that, but the feel and the touch on these is a synthetic. So I would expect these to be around at least 6.5. It's not a big thing if you don't really care about the weight. Say if you think 7 ounces is good, then you're not gonna have a problem with that. But I'm just saying, just on the category and the spectacle of these, I would have expected these to be a little bit lighter, especially with the carbon fiber in here. I'd have thought maybe 6 ounces or 6.5, but it's okay. Going back to the carbon fiber once again, I will say that as far as, like I said, the stiffness, and I guess I would say one thing you do notice a little bit is like the shot power. The carbon fiber one here does work a little bit better as far as shot power and things of that sort than the old Nike Elite series. For those, they use like one layer of carbon fiber, and I just feel as though for this one, I would say it's a little bit better. Maybe not a whole bunch, but I do say that they have something here with this little insert. And let me explain to you guys that this insert is not around this whole sole plate. It's basically, like I said, an insert. Like is like what you see here is only a little bit wider, and that's actually not that bad. I'm actually surprised about how small the carbon fiber is in here, but when I shoot the ball in these, I don't feel like I have to put as much power into my shots for it to go around the same amount of distance. Please note that I haven't put that to the test. It's not like I had one boot, a regular boot, and then these were on my other foot and I was comparing shot power. I just felt that just by playing with these, and then maybe the next day I would go on one of my other boots. So overall thoughts, I would say that it's a good boot. If you buy it and you have a medium to narrow foot, I think you'll be happy with these. I think it could have been better based on the hype. I think the touch, they can work on getting this a little bit softer and making it a little bit more thinner, I believe. But maybe it could have been somewhere where they were testing it and they did have it softer and they made it a little bit more tougher to make it more durable. That's one thing I forgot to point out too. If you get these in person, I can't really show you on camera because my camera isn't that great. It's on an iPhone, but you can kind of see it a little. The toe box around the wear area, it feels a bit more laminated than the rest of the boot, and maybe that's why it feels a little bit thicker in the toe box, is because that's their way of trying to make it more durable. But yeah, pretty much I would say, so for touch, I give it a 7. Lightweight, I give it a 6. Traction, I give it a 9 actually. Comfort, I give it a 6. Looks, I really like these. I would say I give them a 9. So I mean, I'm not really good with numbers, but I would say for my overall rate on these, I would give these around like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. If you get them, most likely you'll be happy with them. If you have, like I said, average narrow feet, if you have wider feet, prepare to get feet cramps, and depending on how sensitive you are with that, you might not enjoy these at all. You might not be able to break these in. But yeah, like I said, 8 out of 10, not too bad. Some things they can improve on, like I said, make the touch thinner, make them more lightweight. I'm expecting the next one to be around 6 ounces, 5.8 ounces. Good job on Adidas on releasing these before the Mercurial, because I'm telling you, I've seen those. I know I keep comparing the X to the Mercurial, but that's because they're the direct competitor. That's what everybody's going to compare them to. And with those vapors, with that fly pit upper that we're seeing on players right now, they're testing the prototypes. I'm telling you, those they look mean. They look like a small step from the Vapor 13, but I think that upper is going to be really thin. But going back to these, decent boot. If you can get them on sale, I would suggest so. Soccer Pro, when I got these from Soccer Pro from the release, it was like $180 shipped, so I appreciate that. And that concludes this review. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.